and we founded our friendship in the Spanish language. So I've never spoken English to him. But now he just started taking English classes. So now he's starting to speak English to me. And it's the weirdest thing ever. It just
Karina,
seems so unnatural because our relationship
Even
is based
Karina,
in.
even the
Karina has
voice
something to
changes.
say.
Yeah, exactly.
Even the voice changes.
It's true. It's true.
My French teacher is my English student, and he's African, and his third language is Portuguese. So sometimes we are talking and we talk Portuguese and French and English in the same phrase. That's
Oh,
a little bit
nice.
crazy.
There, that's so nice. I have a Italian friend, and sometimes we speak in Italian. We sometimes we speak in English, and sometimes she tries to speak in Portuguese. So I feel the same.
Do you feel that you have
I'm
to?
not. Sorry, sorry. Keep going. Keep going.
Sorry.
I oh, okay.
Do you feel that you have to change the intonation when you switch the languages, like from Josh from Spanish to English? Do you?
Um, Kind of. I don't think about it, but it does kind of happen. I find that when I speak in English, my voice is higher, and when I speak in Spanish, it's lower. And when I speak in French, it's even lower than that. So I don't really know why, it just happens.
Yeah, I have been told the same that I sound different in both languages. I never noticed it, but then yeah, I stopped and I was paying attention to myself. I was being aware of myself, and it's true. At least in Spanish, I speak faster
Yeah.
and with more energy than in English. I don't know why. I think it's because I feel closer to my modern language, I guess. And like Jan, the same happens to me. I have a friend from Italy, and he
Oh, nice.
understands Spanish, and we sometimes we switch from Italian, Spanish to English because I'm trying to learn Italian. And
Bravissima.
grazie,
Brava.
carino. And the funny thing is that he also understands Portuguese because he studied
Nice.
languages in college, and it's I don't understand Portuguese, but sometimes he sends memes in Portuguese, and he asks me, "You understand this?" And we laugh about it. I think it's beautiful to have that switch from one language to another. It's amazing.
Hmm.
Karina, I've noticed one thing. We Brazilians, I think everybody, we understand almost, let's see, 90% of about you guys talking about, but you guys doesn't understand us.
Isabel says
I
no.
don't, I don't know why.
I
It's similar. It's similar.
I
Yeah, Spanish is similar to Portuguese, but you have a pronunciation, guys. I remember I had a teacher from Latvia, and she learned Spanish, and she used to say that Portuguese is like a bad spoken Spanish. And I took a time to take that in, and I think she was right. I understand some things, but not a lot. Also we have like words from like how do you say
Really?
it? Like
Really,
words
Isabel?
that are not general for Spanish or Portuguese. Words that have their origin in a certain area or zone. So it's a little bit harder to understand some things. I think maybe slangs, you could say. Even in
I'm
English, you have
I'm
those.
not I'm not a Spanish speaker. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Keep going.
Go ahead,
Sorry.
Icaro.
Go ahead.
I have something to say about that. I think it has a lot to do with, cultural influence. Because, for example, here in Brazil, we speak Portuguese, right? And in Portugal, people tended to understand us more than when we try to understand the Portuguese people. But that's because we export our culture more to Portugal than Portugal uh, uh, gives us some of their culture. So
Last point.
since here in Brazil we are I think the only country in South America that speaks Portuguese, and we are
It's the only
surrounded
country.
by people. Yeah, we are surrounded by people who speak Spanish. So we tend to have this kind of influence. So we know, we sometimes understand. Sometimes it is intelligible. Sometimes we
Oh
understand
yeah,
Spanish people talking more than they understand us. So it has to do with this cultural influence, I think.
that's a good point. That's a good point. I
Hmm.
agree with you. I agree. Yeah, because here in South America, we always hear people from Argentina and Chile, and so we get used. Yeah, I think you're right. It's a good point.
Yeah, but I do want to clarify. Sorry, Leandro. I do want to clarify that Chileans and Argentinians speak a very weird Spanish, really, and I speak Spanish. They have really weird words. Yeah, and also, it's good. I mean, it's sometimes it's possible to understand other people that speak your same language because of media. Nowadays, everything is like everywhere. So you can see soap operas, you could watch movies, and you get used to it. I used to hate Spanish from Spain, really, and now I understand some things and I kind of like it. So I think it's also when you get used to something. But really, Chileans and Argentinians, they don't speak the same language like we do.
Really? Oh my god.
Leandro.
No, can I?
Yes, of course.
Can I? No,
Hey,
I was talking to a friend of mine, like a friend, and he's from Portugal and he lives in Switzerland. And we were talking, and it was really interesting because he was speaking Portuguese with his accent. And it was interesting to me because to me it was like one of the first things in life that actually was the first time in my life that I was talking to a person from Portugal. And then he told me that they are exposed to a lot of things made in Brazil and stuff. But and then I got this I got this thing in my mind. I got this thing in my mind when he told me that, because I realized that actually in Brazil it's a cultural thing. We do not learn how to, I don't know, we are not used to watch things from Portugal and stuff, and what is a shame, okay? And we get people from, calm down here, we get people from other we get I had to do that. Hell. So
Oh my god.
I am like, we are surrounded by Spanish speakers, Spanish speaking countries or Spanish speakers country, whatever. Countries that speak in English, speak Spanish. And we do not speak Spanish. It's a shame. I've been like trying to get out of my comfort zone. So I've been chatting with some people from South America, and it's been great. And sometimes I feel so ridiculous because some words are so simple, but I just don't know. So, and then out of the blue, people, out
oh,
of the
hello,
blue.
intruder. Hello.
Hello, Daniel.
Daniel.
Hello,
He's like saying
Daniel.
hello.
Hi. Holy cow.
Hello.
Cleaning the house. So I am doing the dishes as I talk to you. So, and so that's it. I think it's a cultural thing, and we kind of get used to that. So why am I supposed to learn how to speak Spanish? It's not necessary, but come on. You travel anywhere in South America, you will need it. For God's sake. That's it. Go on, Gio.
Oh my god. I'm ashamed. Oh
Man, come
no,
on, I'm a
I
clown. Stop. Relax, I'm a
stop.
clown.
Stop talking. It's my time now.
No,
Stop
no, just
talking.
go. Just go.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I was just I was trying to say that even here in Brazil, we are like different countries. Even the states are too different You know, people from Northeast, like here, from North and South, we have so different different cultures. I think it's the most different country in the world because
Diverse.
yeah, you know, yes, I think people from from Southeast, they think people from Northeast they speak at the same way and we don't. You know, I'm from Bahia and I don't speak using the T very strong. I don't use it. So even people from here doesn't know us. You know, it's hard. So imagine another country. We don't even know about ourselves. Imagine another country. It's really hard. It's really hard to know.
Yeah, that's the thing about I love in cultures, you know. You have a lot of cultures and even under your own culture you have a lot of different ways. But some thing that I would like to say, I was trying hard since a time and I try to separate some things when I stop to study English, when I stop to rest and I consume English. For example, when I watch a TV show, sometimes I'm not studying, I'm just taking rest, you know. And I think it's sometimes it can make difference on your knowledge. For example, I sometimes I'm just taking rest. I'm in bed. I'm going to bed to sleep, and I'm watching a TV show, and oh my God, I learned a new a word, but I wasn't worried about it. I wasn't with my book there, and I'm writing the words that I don't know. So sometimes we must just try to consume more contact with the language without the conscience that you are studying because that can become a hard thing or obligation and a thing that is not funny to do, you know? I don't know if it makes sense to you. Just a
Yeah,
thing that I was thinking about sometime.
I
I
could.
can speak. I I wanted to say something. To me, it's kinda more productive if I take notes when I'm watching, when I'm so I think it's not just watch. To me, to my experience was not just to watch for fun, you know. So for me, it's important to take notes. Like I don't know this word, so let me take a note, uh, write
Esse aqui é
this
o teu
word,
amigo que tá me
and
ligando.
after the end of the
O
chapter,
microfone só
the
ligando.
episode, I will check in the internet the the dictionary. So to me, it's important to be active in this process. You know, I don't know. It's my experience.
I also like writing down things when I'm watching any TV show, but it's kind of nice, like learning unconsciously. You know, you don't know that you were learning and you were like watching a TV show. Then after a week, you remember the word because you have watched that TV show like you have watched it and you know the word somewhere. It just pops in your head, you know?
Hmm.
That's really kind of nice. I've been like exposed to English when I was young. That's why I feel really comfortable when it comes to speaking English, and since I love this language, you know.
Hmm.
I was gonna say something else, but I forgot. So yeah, I totally forgot. Oh my God.
Can I make a comment on what you
Of
guys
course.
were saying?
Yeah.
So I completely agree with all of you. I think when learning a language, what is most important is learning it in context because it is much easier to remember something that you experience than just memorizing rules, right? So I always say that language learning for English and for any other language really is it should be less of a hobby and more of a lifestyle. And when you make it a lifestyle, then you incorporate it into your life, into all of your interests and everything that you do. Like you said, Giza, you practice your conscious thinking in English. So that's a part of your lifestyle. You don't just think in Portuguese, you actively choose to think in English to practice. So I think that can really help one to improve in their English abilities or any language abilities in a much more effective manner because it means something to us as opposed to just being this abstract concept. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Do you want to share more things?
Do you speak
You want to
do you
add?
speak French?
Sorry?
Do you speak French, Josh?
I speak some French, yeah. I started learning it when I was a teenager, but I'm an exception. Not a lot of people in Canada speak French, but I do.
I know, but it's easier for you. Easier.
Why do you think?
It's easier for you because of your country. Because you guys, speak English in French, it's easier to go to another state and
Um,
learn.
Kind of. It depends on where you live because Canada's pretty large. So Quebec is like 5,000 kilometers away from me. So that's really far. So it's kind of difficult to go there. And they only really speak French in Quebec, in the province, as well as in another province nearby called Newfoundland and Labrador. Other than that, it's English everywhere.
Good question.
But
How easy it is for you to travel within your own country? I mean, to maybe do some tourism in Canada.
It's in theory it is easy, but it is difficult because of distance. So we have very good highways and very good airlines, but it just takes forever to get somewhere. And when it comes to traveling by an airplane, well, it's extremely expensive. It's actually cheaper for me to go to London, England, or Tokyo, Japan, than it is for me to travel within Canada.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Do you know a lot
Uh,
of places inside Canada then? Like, you don't get to
I've
travel?
been to, we have 10 provinces and 3 territories, and I have been to 7 of the 10. So almost all
It's a
of
good number.
them.
yeah.
I think that,
I'd like
yeah, yeah.
I'd like
Go
to
ahead.
say something.
Go ahead.
Actually, is a question for Josh. Josh, let me tell you, here in Brazil, as I think Jean said, we have lots of cultural differences, right? So we have different dialects here, and for some reason, people they tend to diminish different varieties and establish standard Portuguese, and people do this in basic education, so sometimes we are told that we speak broken Portuguese, or some Portuguese teachers tend to say that, oh, Brazilian students don't know their own language. Imagine learning other languages,
Mhm.
So you can see that we have this prejudice. Sometimes we correct people, when when you know something about when you know your language, when you know the Portuguese, the standard Portuguese rules, you
Mhm.
tend to correct other people, and I think this is so bad,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
it diminishes all the varieties. And you said something really interesting, that people in Canada, they study grammar. Um, they study it deeply, right? When they go to college, is that it, or they
Only
just?
only if they want to become an English teacher. Otherwise,
Oh, I
nobody
understand.
knows grammar. You could ask
Yes.
a native English speaker from Canada what is an adjective, and they might not even know what that means. And that's pretty basic.
Mhm.
Really?
No,
Yeah.
that is really interesting. That is really interesting to me because it sounds like you guys do not have that prejudice towards varieties, you know. So it
Mm-hmm.
is something interesting at that point of view, like at that point. So
Mm-hmm.
um, that's what I would like to ask, you know, because we tend to do that here, and I think it is awful, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We have to value here in Brazil. We should value different varieties of Portuguese as
Mm-hmm.
much as people value the standard Portuguese, which is something mythological because nobody uses it, you know.
Yeah.
It is something that, you know, some few people from the higher classes tend to make up those rules, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to, so I would like to know, what do you think about it? Do you think it is a bad thing to diminish these varieties, or you think there should be a standard English or something like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about it?
I do think it is bad to diminish those varieties because I feel like that is diminishing someone's identity. And you're basically saying that they're not important. And that's pretty awful. So I definitely think that that's not a positive thing. And regarding your question for how it is in Canada, um, people in my experience, they don't really care about types of English, whether it's standard or not, because they don't even know what that means. So because they don't study languages typically, so they don't know anything. So what I find interesting is that um, what you guys were saying about how there's so much variety in the way people speak regarding their accents in Brazil, there's not much variety in Canada, even though Canada's huge. So people from British Columbia on the west coast all the way to Ontario, which is near the east coast, they pretty much all sound the same. But as soon as you enter Quebec, then they have a French accent because people don't often speak English in Quebec. So it's just natural for them to have that accent because that's their primary language. And then on the immediate East Coast, there's kind of this mixture of Scottish English and American English put together. But it's in a very small portion of the country, so people don't often hear it. And when people do hear it, they usually think it's fascinating and they love it. And they think, oh, this is so cool. You have such a cool way of speaking. And they usually compliment them honestly. And it's not something that people put others down for. Um, and to also refer to what you said about the social classes, like the higher classes, I think another reason why we don't really discriminate is because we don't have this concept of class in Canada. So there's not a concept of this person is upper class, this person's lower class. Pretty much everybody is middle class. And those who are not middle class, the middle class try to help them usually. And there are lots of government programs to help them. So I think that's one reason why there's not so much discrimination regarding the way people speak here. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yes.
that
okay.
is really interesting, you know, because here we who are language teachers, although I'm not a Portuguese teacher, I'm an English teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we struggle with that, you know, because Portuguese teachers here, especially the traditional ones, they tend to diminish the other varieties of English. And I don't understand why, you know, because they are what keep language alive, you know.
Yeah.
Different varieties are, you know, but fortunately there are people who also fight against that, you know, and there is a lot of discussion of, you know, here in Brazil about it, you know. So I would like to know that that is an interesting thing that what you are telling me, you know, because
Mm-hmm.
it's a completely different reality for what I see.
Yeah.
I don't know about if Karina is there. Is there Karina in your country? Is there such a thing as in standard Spanish, or, you know, do people value varieties there?
Okay, you caught me off guard. Yeah. Yes, we have different accents. In the north region, they speak a lot with the I. I would make an imitation, but I don't know how to. Um, they are usually referred as the countryside people, you know. In the capital city where I live, people tend to use a lot to change the R for the L. I would give you an example. Instead of saying mi amor, which means my love, they would say mi amor. It's a little bit strange, but that's how many people speak here. And yeah, I mean, we have different accents. We can understand each other, and sometimes one group could make fun of the other one or the other group. But uh, sorry, I know I'm talking about this, but I don't know what is the purpose of the question. Sorry. Well, I mean, I know you were talking about not appreciating an accent over the other. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, because it is a unique opportunity. We have a native of Canada here, and we have a person who is a native of Spanish language.
that's me.
So yeah, you. So I would like to know if you guys treat in your country generally people treat your languages as people treat here in Brazil. Because as I told Josh before, we tend to diminish all the varieties to reinforce a kind of standard Portuguese that is mythological. So what I would like to know is whether in your country that it happens. People are like use a standard Spanish that nobody uses and tend to diminish the others.
Okay, thank you for repeating. I'm so sorry. Well, um, Dominicans don't speak like a right Spanish. I do. I have learned to speak a general Spanish because I have worked before with people from other Spanish-speaking countries, and I would like them to understand me, and I would like to understand them too. But it's probable. It's likely that if you because Dominicans use a lot of slangs, especially in the neighborhoods. Um, but I think we tend to value. I don't know if that word exists. To to not appreciate some accents like the slang because it is related to people that have no education or that could be related to bad actions like robbery and drugs. And like I mentioned before, in the up north, they speak like in a way that is related to countryside people and also related to people that are not very studious. So maybe that could lead to not appreciate. Uh, okay, you got the idea. Not appreciate. Okay, I forgot that how to
Unappreciated,
continue. Thank you. Them. Okay,
underappreciated.
underappreciating them. That's the word. So yeah, I think that could happen. I mean, it's the world. People are different, and there's everything everywhere. So I think it's something that happens. George, go ahead.
I think
Oh,
it's I think it's Leander's turn, right? Isn't it? I don't know.
No, actually, I'm gonna. No, actually, I'm gonna just say something to Josh. Yes, Josh, because I have to say, I don't know if you have this conscious, if
mhm.
you people in Canada know it, but at least the image we have from Canada is that it's a country where people are very polite, people are gentle to each other, and there's not something like such a huge social, like there's no like, there aren't so many social issues as we have in Brazil. Okay,
Mm.
so we have the image of Canada, of Canadians, that are very polite people, and they are very gentle, and that's why it's interesting to hear you saying that people don't discriminate, because there's nothing such a like class,
Mm.
everybody's basically at the same level.
Mhm.
And those who are a little like in a higher level, they are trying to help each other. So this is a lot of the image we get from Canada. And I have to say that it's kind of interesting because you are hearing and you said about twice. And it's very funny because your accent is different. And once I heard about it, like, what's the difference between the Canadian accent and the American accent? And okay, I heard it for the first time in a movie, South Park. I don't know if you know them. And they, yes, and they said this about, and they start making fun about the boot, and I was like, oh my gosh. So every time I hear a person from Canada saying, and they say about, and I was like, oh gosh, South Park, get out of my head, get out of my head. But that's it.
Yeah.
But the accent is great.
Well, I'm glad I can give you that experience.
Yes, what a Friday evening, isn't it? So
I don't know how to distinguish the American accent with the Canadian accent. They seem alike, you know. They seem like so like they're the same thing, unless like about to this the only word that I know from Canada Canadian accent. But I think they're really similar, you know, as Americans accent, right?
Yeah, it's very similar. In fact, a lot of Canadians cannot even tell the difference if they're talking to an American or a Canadian. Really, the biggest differences are the speed, typically, and like Leandro was saying, the pronunciation of an OU. So it's not exactly like in South Park, like an ooh sound, but the difference is that Canadians, they lift up their tongue when they say it, whereas Americans flatten their tongue. So it's just that difference in the sound. So instead of about with a flat tongue, then we say about, which is a higher tongue. So it's a very small difference. So the fact that Leandro noticed, that's impressive.